Hey everyone, welcome back into FS25. This is episode 10 on Zalanka. It is now August and our sorghum is ready to be harvested. So, we are going to go ahead and start out harvesting this field. We have a 97% yield bonus, which is pretty fantastic. So, we're going to go ahead, jump in this John Deere that I leased, and we'll get this thing fired up and rolling. So, we're running the big John Deere, the S780. It is in the mod hub. We put an extended pipe on it, and I have the 50-foot draper on it, John Deere draper head. So we'll go ahead, pull forward here, get her fired up, drop it down, check out our steering assist. We want two headlands. Two headlands makes everything much, much simpler. So we will go ahead and get this thing going. Alright, I'm going to run the first two headlands here, and then I'll hire up a worker. That way I can run the tractor in the wagon. But I'm not sure if we're going to make it a full round around this field or not before this combine fills up. It's got 22,000 liters of storage. It's got the most storage out of any of the combines currently available. So that's what I went with. But I do have to admit, I do love the way this sorghum looks in FS25. I think it's one of the best looking crops in here. I do think all the crops have taken a major step up, but sorghum especially looks just fantastic. And I will for sure be planting much, much more of it. Get you a little shot of the inside view of this cab. The detail in here is pretty amazing. I'm very, very impressed with it. And seeing that sorghum running through the head here is just pretty kick-ass. And we did not make it a full pass around this field before the combine filled up. So we will go ahead and finish dumping this and get back to it. It looks like it's going to take a couple of fill-ups, and we should get a pretty darn good yield out of this field. I'm pretty happy about that. Looks like it's going to be a very good yield. Oh, and I hit the tractor. It's a good thing it's leased, and I don't have to fix it. So we'll get this fired up, get it dropped down, and we'll finish combining. Well, we didn't quite make a full round around the field on our second headland here, so we'll get this dumped off, get the combine emptied out, finish this pass, and then I'll set a worker to it. And you might notice my funds have dropped over $100,000, and that is because this field, field 41, is also sorghum. And I noticed that when I was coming down the headland here. And since I had the money and we're already harvesting sorghum, it doesn't hurt anything to add some more. So I went ahead and bought this field. I planned on eventually buying it at some point. I want to buy this entire section over here. So we just will start with this one. I'd like to buy this whole section at some point as well, but as you can see, field farmland 7 is almost $900,000 and not even remotely worth that much in my opinion. So it's going to be a minute before we get that bought, and I'm not going to worry about buying field number 9, even though it's 166,000. I don't think I'm going to worry about it at the moment, but that very well could change. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, we're going to get down here to the end, get swung around, get kind of lined up, and then we'll set the worker loose. All right, we got the worker going. We'll let them run the combine, and I will stay in the tractor. Okay, so while my worker is combining, I decided I'd start cutting some of these trees out of this ditch line here. That way I don't have the GPS going all wonky trying to go around them. And I realized when you come up to a tree here and you cut it, the whole thing just disappears. There's no stump, nothing left. So, I wish I would have known that earlier, but hey, nothing wrong with that. Now I know. So I'll finish cutting all these out while my worker is combining, and I'll keep an eye on for his flashers because that'll let me know when he's at 80% full. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and finish cutting all these trees out. Combine is almost full here, so I'm going to pull up and we'll unload on the go here. And I wish, well, maybe we won't. Why? Huh. It's not working. Well, that's new. I'm not entirely sure why it won't unload on the go. I can't say I've ever had that problem before, so I guess we're going to wait for it to fill up before we unload. That is really odd. I've never had this problem before. I maybe I didn't get a long enough auger on this combine. I got. What are we doing? Okay, so I'm gonna have to fire the worker, and every time we unload on this field, that's gonna be fun. And I'll have to take this back over to the shop and get the longer auger after we get done combining this field, and see if maybe that's the issue. Okay, we're pulling up here for dump number 3 for the combine, and again, I just went ahead and fired the worker. That way the combine will actually unload, and once it's finished, I'll go ahead and rehire the worker. I'm not quite understanding what is going on, because I tried a second time here and it still isn't working. So it's got to be the auger. So we'll finish this field, and I'll go ahead, head over to the shop, change the auger, and see what happens. Alright, well, I tried multiple different times, multiple different angles, and I absolutely cannot get the AI to unload. Will not unload on the go. So I fired the worker because there's no point in running the worker since we can't unload on the go, and I'm just going to run the combine myself. So we got about a little over a pass here, and this one will be finished, and then we will move on to the new sorghum field that I just bought. I'm sure it's not going to yield anywhere near as good as this field did, but that's okay. I do see that there is quite a bit of weeds out in that field, but not a big deal. We'll take whatever we can get, and we're going to get a lot of sorghum off this field anyway, so I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Alright, finishing up this last little bit in our sorghum field here. Looks like we're going to have just shade over 8,000 liters off of this field. And this field is complete, so we'll run over here, jump across the road into that new sorghum field that we just bought, and see what kind of yield we're getting out of it. Alright, fire it up, drop it down, and away we'll go. What is it doing? There we go. That's the path I wanted. Alright, let's get her done. Alright, we got the majority of this field done. It's at a 77% yield bonus, so a lot better than I honestly thought it would be. And we're getting quite a bit of sorghum off of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this field or not. I might go ahead and sell it. It depends on whether or not I can buy the fields around it to extend it, because it's not a very big field. But I'm not going to know if I can buy it until I get the sorghum sold. The soybeans won't sell until after planting next season, so I won't be able to really count on that money this year. That'll be a next year kind of situation. So for this, I'm just going to go ahead and probably sell it for now, even though I do very much plan on buying it back at some point. But it's all going to depend on our silage sales and what the sorghum ends up selling for. And this is the end of our sorghum harvest for year number 3. I've got to say, I'm pretty happy with how this year has gone. A lot less hectic, a lot better managed than last year. Year 2 was kind of a disaster for me, but we're back on track and heading in the right direction this time. Alright, well, I'm just going to go ahead and leave this combine in the field. I'm not going to do any fertilizing or anything because I don't know if I'm going to keep it. But for now, we own it, so I'll just keep the combine down here and we'll start in this corner for the soybeans when they're ready to go. Alright, we're back here in our original sorghum field. We're going to go ahead and get the fertilizer sprayed on this field this fall. That'll give us 1 round, and when we plant, that'll give us our 2nd round of fertilizer. So with all those trees gone, yep, it did. It straightened that right out. We will go ahead and get this field fertilized. I did download a new fertilizer spreader from the mod hub that I will try at some point, but for now I'm going to use the liquid sprayer because we have a whole bunch of liquid fertilizer I need to go through. So until that's gone, we're going to stick with the liquid, but I will give one of the new fertilizer spreaders out of the mod hub a chance. Hopefully it doesn't have the issue that the base game was giving me where it wouldn't do the outside of the field, but we'll have to wait and see. Well, we got the fertilizing done in this field, and now, as you can see, I have a seeder hooked up. It's August, and I got to thinking about it, and here in Iowa, we do cover crops, but our cover crops are usually on fields that have been chopped for silage. It's becoming more and more common to have a cover crop on a lot of fields if there's time to get a cover crop seeded before it freezes here in Iowa. But we typically do oats and sorghum or wheat or something like that. However, I'm going to do grass because A, oats aren't allowed to be planted here on FS25 in the fall, and B, I can double crop easily with the grass. I can plant this in August and I might be able to get 2 cuttings off of this field. I'll for sure get one in the spring and I might be able to get one here in the fall. Now, if we do the same thing in the other field, in our soybean field, we won't be able to get a cutting here in the fall done, but we will get a cutting in the spring, and that's going to give us a whole bunch of silage. And having silage is a great thing to have and sell. So that is what we're going to do. So I'm going to jump in here, get fired up, and we're going to go ahead and seed some grass. Looks like it's calling for 3 headlands. That's fine by me. So we'll go ahead, get it fired up, get it dropped down, and away we'll go. Alright, we're finishing up this last pass planting the grass here in this field, and while I went ahead and hired an AI worker to do the majority of this field, and I cut down some more trees that I was hitting with my sprayer, and also went ahead and tried to customize that combine, but I forgot you can't customize something when it's leased. So I went ahead and returned it because it won't unload on the go. We'll try again here in October when we do the beans and see if maybe a longer auger, or I might just go back to the case. I know the case works and it'll unload on the go. So we'll figure out what we're going to do in October, but for now that field is planted and it is fertilized, and it's currently sitting at 77% yield bonus, which I think is good enough because all we're going to do is silage. So it's not that big of a deal. Get this thing unloaded and we'll get it returned. because we don't need it again until October. There's no point in paying the lease for 2 months when we don't need it. Well, I think that'll do us for August, and I will see you guys in October. Oh, and I also went ahead and sold that other field that we bought this fall to take the sorghum off of. I think we're going to go a different direction for now as far as buying fields. Eventually, we'll come back to that one, but for now, I went ahead and sold it. Welcome into October. Our soybeans are now officially ready to be combined. So we'll fire this up and we will get started on our soybean harvest. Pretty excited. I can't wait to see how much soybeans we actually end up getting here. Turn on the steering assist. We'll do 2 passes around the end rows and we'll get going here. All right, we made it just over 1 pass here for the first fill up of the combine. So we'll come over. Whoop, too far. We didn't quite get that pass finished, but it was close. And I know I switched over to the case combine because I know it'll unload on the go. And as I could see, it has a much longer pipe. So I'm wondering if that was the issue with the John Deere. Not sure, but I know this one will unload on the go. So this is the combine I went with for harvesting the soybeans. But we'll go ahead and get the combine emptied out here and finish our headlands, and I'll switch over to a worker. That way we can get the combining done and unload on the go all at once. All right, we got all of the headlands done here, so I went ahead and hired up a worker, and they'll run the combine, and I will cart as needed. And I did unload on the go. I didn't record it, but it did work just fine, no problems. So that is wonderful. I have noticed, however, that the combine header still catching on stuff for no reason. Giant still hasn't fixed that. It's getting very frustrating. So I'll have to keep a very close eye on the combine, make sure that it's not getting stuck on random stuff out in the middle of the field. Alright, combine is 80% full, so we'll pull up here and we will unload on the go. And you can see that it's working just fine with this combine, so I really think it had something to do with the pipe being too short on the John Deere. Not a big deal, just kind of annoying on the last harvest, but we'll make do. So it's looking like we're probably going to end up, I don't know, 70,000 liters or so, maybe a little more for soybeans. I was really hoping to get 100,000 liters, but we're definitely not getting that. Alright, and with that, our soybean harvest is finished. It's looking like we're probably going to end up somewhere around 65,000. I don't think I quite got to the 70,000 I was hoping for, but that's alright. It's still going to be a pretty good payout. Definitely going to be able to use it to expand. So yeah, we ended up with 66,000 liters. I'll definitely take it. So we will return the case and the header. And we need to go ahead and get these soybeans dumped in the bin. And I do believe my silage is selling for a high at its high right now. So I think we're going to probably lease a trailer and start hauling silage bales after this. Let's take a look. Prices, silage. Yep, looks like the farmer's market is selling at 369. Peak is 370. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get this trailer parked and start hauling silage. All right, we just picked up our first load of silage bales here, and these are going over to the farmer's market. So we'll make our way over there and see how much we get per load of silage bales. All right, we're dropping our first load of silage bales here. Oh, looks like we had to not make it. All right, well, that was pretty decent little payout. We got two more full trailer loads left. All right, and this is our last load of silage, full load of silage bales. So we'll go ahead and get these last two dumped here. All right, that was pretty good payday. We made over $100,000 off that. I'll definitely take it. So well, I'm going to go ahead and keep the last three bales that we have for the next cutting, and I'll sell those off whenever I sell whatever we make here for silage this fall and next spring. All right, we have hooked the back of the sprayer up here, and we're going to go ahead and spray some fertilizer on this field. And then we will have to lease a seeder again and get this field seeded, because we're also going to plant grass as a cover crop here. We won't get to harvest any of it this year, but we will get a harvest grass in the spring off of this field. So that'll give us quite a bit of silage for selling next year. Well, we'll go ahead, get our steering assist set up, and I'm going to go with, yeah, one pass will be fine. So we'll get it fired up and get going here. All right, finishing up this last pass here, putting the liquid nitrogen down here. And once we get this done, we'll go ahead, drop the sprayer, and we'll hook up to the seeder that I leased, and we will get this field seeded and make sure we have grass growing as soon as possible. Okay, we got the seeder here. We got it filled up with seed, and I left the liquid tank on the front just kind of as a counterbalance, use it as a nose weight. But we'll go ahead and get GPS fired up here. And I think I'm going to do 4 headlands this time. 3 was a little tight on the last field, so we're going to go with 4. All right, we'll fire it up and get going. Drop it down, and we'll get to planting. Ahead and finish planting all of our grass seed here at the home place. And I think we're going to go ahead and call this it for the month of October. So I will see you guys in November when we harvest our grass and turn it into silage bales. Hey, welcome into November. I went ahead and leased all the equipment we need to mow, windrow, and bale our grass in the north field. So we'll go ahead and jump over here, get in this tractor, and get this hooked up to the mower. I lease the cloth mower, both front and rear attachments for the mower, and I leased a Fendt 700 to run the mower, and this should have more than enough power. The mower says 160 horsepower, and we've got 246, so we should be sitting very good, and it's a nice flat field, so that shouldn't be an issue. But we'll go ahead and get this thing unfolded, fired up, and ready to roll. All right, now that we're into our field, we'll go ahead and get the steering assist going here. Okay. And we'll get this field mowed and a hurry here. This shouldn't take too long at all. Finishing up the last pass here on the headland, and I had to slow the mower down because it was bouncing like crazy and skipping all over the place. But running 10 mile an hour seems to be working, so that's where we're going to keep it. I'm going to go ahead and hire up a worker on this now. That way they can mow while I go ahead and windrow. So we'll get this worker fired up here. Make sure he's going, and then I'll jump over into my other tractor and we'll get the windrower hooked up. I have no idea what that worker is doing or where he's going, so I'm just going to pretend I didn't see him randomly driving through the field and go over here and hook up to the windrower. For the most part, the AI does a really good job, but every once in a while, it does make me kind of scratch my head and wonder what they're doing. So the grass here at the home place is looking very good, and it'll be ready for harvest in the spring. So we'll have this field and the north field over here, both ready for harvest in the spring. So I'll just kind of pull in over here and wait and see what my worker decides to do. Well, I still have no idea what this worker is doing. He came all the way down to the corner, mowed part of the ditch, and now we're backing up. I I have no idea what this guy's doing. Um, yeah, apparently it's too early in the morning for the worker to be smart. So this is turning into quite the adventure here. I'm. Now what is he doing? Now we're turning around. Um, we're gonna fire that worker, and we're gonna try this again because I I don't know if he was attempting to do headlands or something. Turn the headlands off. How about that? We'll try this again. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to fire the worker and just go ahead and. Yep, we're skipping like crazy here. So I'm gonna fire the worker. I'm gonna do all of this myself because something's clearly not working right. So we'll try this myself and see how this goes. All right, well, looks like it's going better this way, so I'm just going to go ahead and run all of this myself. Well, since the worker wasn't working out on the mowing, I'm going to try and have the worker do the windrowing here. So I got it set for 13 meters because 14 meters always seems to miss some on the outsides of the windrower, and it seems to be working. All right, so I will have the worker windrow, and I will go ahead and finish mowing. We made it a quarter of the field before the AI worker went haywire and just started doing a tractor's length all the way down this side and decided he wasn't going to do the rest of the field. So I I don't know what's going on here. This has been an absolute disaster. So I fired the worker. I'll start up again when I get the mowing done. We're on our last pass here for the mowing, so not a huge deal, just more of a frustration and inconvenience than anything. Up until this point, I really haven't had any problems mowing and raking and everything, but for some reason now I'm having nothing but issues. I I don't know what's going on. I truly don't. But I'll go ahead, I'll get this last pass finished here. I'll run this back over, get the baler picked up and get it drug over here, and then I will jump in the other tractor and get all the windrowing finished that apparently the worker couldn't figure out how to do. So that is it for mowing. So I will go ahead and get these mowers returned here. And head over to the shop and get the baler picked up. Well, I'm back in October. The game was having issues. The AI workers were going nuts, as you guys could see, and next thing I know, the game crashed. What's worse is I saved the game 3 times, and apparently it didn't save. So, I now have to redo like an hour and a half. Yeah, I think I was an hour and a half, 2 hours farther into this video than, or into this recording than where I'm at now. So I've got to redo all of it. So I'm going to get all caught back up to where I was, and I'll see you guys when I start baling. Okay, after the crash, I finally caught back up to where I was, and I went ahead and put down a government subsidy sign. I've been trying to avoid it, but with as bad as I was skipping on the grass in this field, I'm going to go ahead and try and terraform it a little bit, smooth it out. I'll use the smooth tool across the whole field. You'll see some skips where the AI worker missed, and it was really bad along the outside. And I cleaned those up and then thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that because then I'd know where I need to do this. But I'm just going to do the whole field. I wasn't sure how much that's going to cost, but I used a government subsidy to fund it, and I may have overfunded it. Well, we'll see how much I end up using, but we are now officially back on track and ready for baling. So I've got 150 centimeter bales. I've got the Pottinger baler again, and it's should be ready to roll. So we'll fire it up. We'll drop it down. We'll get pulled into the field here. And I'm going to go ahead and set my steering assist up. And we windrowed at 13 meters with one pass along the outside. So we should be good to go. And it looks like we are. So we'll go ahead, get this fired up, see how much grass we end up missing. I'm hoping it's not too much, but we'll have to see. I'm going to clean up whatever we can. I don't want to leave as much grass behind as I did last spring because I honestly wasn't expecting to do this again, really. This is kind of a we're winging it situation here. So that is bale number 1, and we'll see how many bales we end up with on this field. All right, we're finishing up our last few bales here, and we have gotten a lot of bales off of this field. A lot more than I really thought I would. So that's a pleasant surprise. Also, this baler has done a fantastic job on this field. It hasn't missed hardly anything. So I don't have anything that I have to go back and clean up after this, and I'm very, very pleased with how well this baling is going. The mowing was a nightmare. The windrowing was a nightmare, but the baling went very, very well. And I don't know why I'm picking up this last little bit. It's not enough for a bale, but oh well. We'll just pull this up over here. That way the bale drops right in this line. That is perfect. So we will save the game. I've been saving like crazy through the baling to make sure I don't have another instance. I thought we were done crashing, but apparently we weren't. So I got that uh, turned back in. We had 92, 93 bales, something like that. So we have a lot of bales to pick up. You can see all the marshmallows out here. Looks fantastic. And you can see all the tall spots where the mower didn't get that I will be going through and trying to clean up and soften out. See if we can avoid that problem from now on. All right, we will make sure this is in operating position, and we'll get to picking up bales. All the bales picked up off this field, as you can see, so we'll go ahead, get these put over with a stack, and then we will return the trailer and get the ground transformation going and try and figure out why the mowers were skipping so bad. And hopefully we'll have a solution. So we'll get these dropped off here. Pull ahead. Make it look somewhat, professional here. And there we go. Not bad for one cutting, especially when it was only 50% uh, fertilized. So we will return that. And then if we go up here and go over to there we go. Now it's working. You can see the field's still at 50% fertilized. So I'm wondering, is there any point in fertilizing the field at all? But we're going to go down here to construction, get over here to our field, and we will get out our soften tool, bring that up, get it as big as we can, as strong as we can, and you can see right through here. Try and soften all of this out here. Try and get as much of this field softened out as we can. I went ahead and ran that softening tool across the field, both north and south and east and west. Spent a pretty good chunk of change doing it, so let's hope that works. Now, my home place field here, I never had a problem with skipping on the mowing or anything, so we're just going to leave this field alone for now. But that is going to do it for November. All right, and I will see you guys either in December or January when the sorghum is ready to be sold. Welcome into January. It is time to sell our sorghum, and as you can tell, I'm down to just under $200,000, and that is because I officially bought a tractor. I've been cycling through tractors, buying tractors, leasing tractors, trying to figure out what I want to go with. And I've officially decided we're going to go red on this farm. And I bought a Massey Ferguson. It's 425 horsepower. I put the narrow twin wheels on it, and I already loaded the trailer with the sorghum, and it's looking like the grain mill is going to be our best price. Erlengrat is slightly higher, and you know what? I haven't tried loading the train here yet, so we'll take it over there. We'll take it to the train yard and see how this goes. We're gonna get this dumped in here and see how loading the train goes. Hopefully, it's not too bad. I know FS22 definitely had a couple of issues with a couple of places, but we'll see how this goes. So I think the train rental is back around here somewhere. Let's see, train rental. Oh, is that? Aha! And we'll rent the train. We're here. I decided to look for some apples, and I found one. So we'll collect that one. That was not fun to get to with it being right there at the shop. But we'll look for some more while we're waiting for the train to show up here. I had any more apples, but the train is here. So we'll try this out, see how it goes. Get the lid open. For the most part, this wasn't too bad in FS22. I'm not sure about FS25. I've never done the trade in FS25, so this will be the first for me. It does appear to be loading fairly quickly, which is very nice. And I have no idea what the max capacity is for this train either. All right, 90,000 for the first car. So between the front two cars, we should be just fine for this load fitting. So we'll get this train topped off and put it in reverse and get to the edge of the map here. So we are topped off. Run this back and see how it goes. All right, we made $226,000. Not too bad. All right, we're back here at my tractor, and I think we're going to go ahead and call this an episode. And I will see you guys in the spring. If you're enjoying the content, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next one.